sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Ohio.
Rainy night in downtown Cincinnati, although it has lightened up considerably from just about a half hour ago. You can see the field still covered up by the tarp. And we're hoping we're not in for a lengthy delay here tonight. It's game 2 of this 3-game series. The NL East leading Atlanta Braves in town to take on the Cincinnati Reds. And hi again, everybody. Welcome to Bow Tie Tuesday here in the broadcast booth tonight alongside Chris Welsh. I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us for Reds baseball. And when we get started, this perhaps, Chris, is the best pitching matchup of the series. A couple of talented young right-handers in Chris Medlin and, of course, Homer Bailey.
Chris Medlin came on the scene last year, and he caught everybody by surprise. You see the record this year, but still lower in run average. Not getting quite the movement on his sinking fastball that he had last year. He's made some mechanical adjustments in the bullpen along down there with their pitching coach, Roger McDowell. They think they've got some things straightened out that have gotten him that 1-4 record. Homer Bailey 1-3. Well, that could easily be 3-1. He's been a bad luck pitcher so far, but he has pitched some sensational baseball. You're seeing before your eyes a guy in Homer Bailey that is just turning himself in from a guy who was just a good prospect with a great arm to one of the better pitchers in the National League.
He's not only done it, obviously, by just pure maturation, going from a 20-year-old, 21-year-old to just recently turning 27. And, Chris, as you know, with that, guys, if they work hard at it, are going to get bigger and stronger and far tougher mentally on the mound. And we watched Bailey grow up before our very eyes.
You're right. There's a lot of factors that go into a maturation of a pitcher. And, you know, physical is one part of it. Mental is another. I think his health is another one right here. But they've really adjusted his delivery. On the left-hand side, you're going to see Homer Bailey in 2007. And he had a big, long delivery where he would, when he start that delivery, his hands would go over his head and his big, high leg kick. Everything was long. It was slow. By comparison, though, the one on the right is from 2013. It's compact. He keeps his head still. His follow-through is better and much more under control. And this is really the work of pitching coach and Homer Bailey, being able to come back and do all those bullpen sides and all those preparations for spring training and all those silhouette work where you just don't even throw. You just stand on the mat and you practice your delivery dry. And then eventually you get it. And Homer Bailey, as you see year after year from when he started in 2009, earned run average is coming down. To this season, it's as low as it's ever been at 3.38. And his whip, which is walks and hits divided by your innings pitch, it's another way that you rate pitchers, is getting better and better. The lower the number, the better there. And he's just getting better and better. And it's a treat to see him pitch every fifth day.
Meanwhile, for Chris Medlin, a lot of Reds fans heard his name bandied about quite a bit during this offseason, primarily because of the plight of Aroldis Chapman, going from a guy and how would they handle him to begin the year? Would he work out of the bullpen to keep the innings down, then put into the starting rotation? Well, we know how that plan has ended up, at least so far, but they played it to a T with Medlin looking back to the 2012 season.
Well, when he was originally drafted in 2006, Chris Medlin was a shortstop, but they saw him as the Braves as a relief pitcher. So throughout the entire minor leagues, he was always a reliever until last year, and that's when he made his 12 starts last year. He went 9-0. In fact, the club won his first 23 starts overall. I mean, it was incredible what he was able to do. Really, 4-pitch repertoire, but mainly a sinking fastball, slider, and changeup. The problem with Medlin this year, he's not getting quite as much sink on that fastball. It's going more lateral, and the more lateral it is, of course, it stays in the hitting zone more, the fewer ground balls you have. His walks are up, his strikeouts are down. So all the things that you worry about as pitchers begin to lose it, Medlin's happened to him, but I'm assured by some people with the Braves that they think that they've caught the mechanical problem that he's had, and he ought to be better tonight. So we will see when they take them out.
Should be a good matchup, and hopefully we're not waiting too long. Now, we're going to step aside for the time being because obviously we are not going to be getting started at 10 minutes after 7 o'clock here tonight, but hopefully not too long. We're going to send you to lacrosse action right now, but we will be checking in periodically to bring you an update. We are expecting to play baseball here tonight, so we'll keep you up to date right here on Fox Sports Ohio. have dried up considerably from where we were about 45 minutes ago. Yes, we are late getting started, but yes, we are going to get started. The Reds and the Atlanta Braves here tonight in our weather report, brought to you by Eric Dieters, attorney at law. Check in with Local 12 and the forecast. There is a chance for light rain throughout tonight. Very humid night. Feels a lot warmer than 61 degrees. The winds are calm, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. Well, one guy the Reds have had their fingers crossed when they went out and got him, and boy, has he delivered, is the leadoff man, Shin-Soo Choo.
Well, they knew that he was an on-base monster, but they didn't know that he was going to be as big a monster as he has been so far. How about a .467 on-base percentage? That's better than Miguel Cabrera. If you're better than Miguel Cabrera in anything concerning offensive baseball, you are doing something, because he is about the best player on the planet right now, hitting-wise. Joey Votto is right there, and of course Carlos Santana in the old club where Choo came from. But Choo keeps it simple. He gets on base. He slashes the ball all over, and so far he's kept that slump away.
Well, he was on base 3 more times last night. Speaking of being at home, all of a sudden Homer likes pitching on the home front, something he didn't enjoy so much a year ago. He'll turn loose the first pitch of the night when we return. By the Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling truck in America, 36 straight years. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. If you're feeling good, that means it's Skyline time. Looking into the rolling hills of Kentucky, that couple. And a lot of folks making their way into the ballpark. Another kid glove game here tonight as it was last night, so a lot of the youngsters all over the ballpark. And of course they're hoping tonight they get to celebrate a win on their way back home, a late night up with school tomorrow morning.
I love these kid glove nights. The Reds are going to have 5 of them overall. Of course, the kid glove program has been in force for more than 50 years. They've raised millions of dollars to help youth baseball and softball all around the Reds area. They are big contributors to the Reds Community Fund. And you can be a part of the Kid Glove effort. You log on to kidglove.org and become a member of the Dugout Club. Take contributions of any amount, and or you can spend some time helping breaking down the equipment and getting it out to these kids that mostly just trying to get kids to play baseball, appreciate that the lessons you learn on a baseball field go far beyond. what you actually do with playing catch and hitting baseball.
Saw Brandon Phillips down there in the right field corner signing autographs as he does before each and every game. Look at that, taking pictures with the fans. He's something else, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Well, he gets it. I mean, you know, Brandon has been, you've been with Devin Mesoraco, I think, and Jay Bruce a few times. That's on right. The Reds Caravan. I've been lucky enough to be with Brandon Phillips the last few years, and he really gets it. I mean, fans throughout all of Reds country just appreciate the effort he gives. And I'll tell you what, it's not easy. I mean, he takes an 0 for 4 like everybody else and may not want to show his head out there, but he goes out and signs autographs, and he knows that those fans are very important.
I mean, here the starting battery for the Reds is already on the field, and Phillips is just wrapped up signing autographs, grabbing his glove, and will take the field with his mates. Freddie Gonzalez, a manager of the Atlanta Braves, who come in with a record of 19-12 in his lineup. They moved Andrelton Simmons to the leadoff spot, and why not? After clubbing 2 home runs, big night last night. B.J. Upton to the 2-hole, his brother Justin batting third. Freeman, Gaddis, and McCann in the middle. Dan Uggla, Juan Francisco, the former Red, healthy and ready to go tonight after injuring his ankle on Friday. And Chris Medlin is on the mound. And, of course, starting it for the Reds is Homer Bailey, and we mentioned a moment ago going to break. A year ago, and to begin his career, look at the ERA here at Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, it used to be that Homer Bailey, that Great American Ballpark was like like the Bermuda Triangle for him. He hated pitching here. He saw balls fly out of here, go in the front row of seats, and end up giving up 3-run home runs, and he ended up getting kind of a phobia about this place, but he has erased that completely this year. You see the earned run average here at home is .9. In fact, Homer's really only had one really bad outing. That was against St. Louis in St. Louis. In fact, both his outings where he gave up more than 2 runs in a ball game have been against the Cardinals.
Let's take a look at the Reds defensively behind him tonight, brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Xavier Paul, the nod out in left field. Chu in center. Jay Bruce in right. Votto and Hanahan tonight on the corners. Cozart and Phillips up the middle with a battery of Bailey and Corky Miller. Reds come in 3 games over the 500 mark, but they have slipped to a season worst 3 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals, winners of 6 in a row. Cardinals had the night off last night. They will play in about 30 minutes from now against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. So Simmons, first pitch swinging, a little pop fly into short left field, and unable to get it is Cozart. So he saw a number of these from the Braves in the first inning last night. Little bleeders and dunkers and dinkers, and they fell in, and right from the get-go on the first pitch tonight.
Now, Homer Bailey's got to be thinking, so this is the way it's going to go tonight. I make a good pitch, I jam a guy, the ball seemingly hangs up there long enough, but it just falls into no man's land. Good effort by Cozart, but that's not an easy play. Just out of his glove. And Simmons runs the whole way, and he ends up on second base very easily.
So now B.J. Upton, will they ask him to move the runner along with a bunt? He struck out 4 times last night.
How can you not? Really? Unless you're trying to build the confidence in B.J. And there's no confidence going on right now when you're hitting a .148.
No sign of a bunt on that first pitch. Upton, 3 home runs, 5 runs batted in, and he's gotten ahead in the count 2-0. So just underway after a little more than a 35-minute rain delay. Upton struck out his first 4 times up, then drew a walk in the 8th inning, his final plate appearance.
Yeah, you watch Upton set up, and he's so quiet when he sets up. But when the pitcher is just about to release the baseball, his hands go it's a flurry of activity. His feet move, his hands move, and I got to figure he's moving his head a little bit too.
2-2. Upton was handed the largest contract ever to an Atlanta Braves player during the offseason. $75 million over 5 years. 2-2 pitch. And lucky to get a piece of that breaking ball low and away. the lowest batting average among all National League players so far this year when a right-hander is on the mound.
Well, how could Adam LaRoche be on that list?
Well, he looked as bad as any player you will ever see. That 4-game series the Reds were in Washington a week and a half ago, and they keep running him out there every single day. And Adam LaRoche made the comments to the media that I'm going to swing my way out of this. Upton at least making contact after getting to 2-2 in the count. He has fouled away 3 in a row.
Boy, be thankful for small things.
This will be the 8th pitch, and this is back to B.J. Upton after a blue double on the first pitch of the game by that man Andrelton Simmons. Bailey a look back, and now the break-even pitch once more. Here it is. Beat him. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and the runner advances on to third anyway.
Boy, is that good base running by Simmons out there. This young kid has been very impressive. 2 home runs last night. He made some dandy defensive plays. And this ball he sees getting in the dirt. He's anticipating a ball in the dirt anyway for a strikeout pitch. That ball goes off the plate. Corky Miller really can't field it cleanly, but he's able to come up with it, tag the runner. Or tag the batter, that is. But in the meantime, Simmons sees a little bit of an opportunity, and he runs to third base.
So now runner at third with 1 out in the inning, and here's BJ's younger brother, Justin Upton. Both of them #1 draft picks coming out of high school in the Virginia Beach, Virginia area. Justin Upton, the National League's Player of the Month in April, hit all 12 of his home runs that month. 1 ball and 1 strike. He has cooled off considerably since really what was a sizzling 3 weeks in the month of April. He had a bloop single, one of his 2 hits in the game last night. And now the 1-1 pitch. Picked out of there by Miller. A ground ball to anyone along the infield with the exception of Kozai. And depending on whether the contact play is on. Phillips is in. Votto only a step or 2 behind the bag. Hamrahan backing up a little bit now. See how it plays out. 2-1 delivery. 3-1. Gary Cedarstrom, the home plate umpire tonight. Kerwin Danley over at first base. Mike Mujlinski is out at second, and Vic Carapazza, the umpire, down at third. Bailey with a 3-1 count on Justin Upton, and he walked him. Upton doesn't know. He's looking at the umpire, and it's ball 4.
What is the worst way to show up an umpire? Inadvertently. I mean, he didn't mean to do this. Running on a pitch that you think is ball 4 that is actually a strike, or standing in the batter's box on ball 4 because you think it was a strike.
Good question.
I would imagine for the umpire, what we just saw would be more embarrassing because he has to tell the guy, that's ball 4, son.
Now Freddie Freeman missed a couple of weeks on the disabled list in the month of April this year with a strained oblique. But man, this guy is one impressive young hitter. His first 2 years in the major leagues has swung the bat so well. .319 average this year, 16 runs batted in. On the corners with 1 out here in the top of the first inning. And Bailey to the plate. He went around. 1-1.
Well, Homer Bailey's got a much better chance nowadays of throwing a ground ball double play than he used to. He used to be much less of a ground ball pitcher, but he's up that really about 13% over a couple of years ago. I think he's got the pitches to be able to work that ball down in the zone now more and get that ground ball.
Runner at third is Simmons. Upton after the walk, held on by Votto over at first. And the 2-1 count to Freddie Freeman. Once again is in the dirt. Bailey making his 4th career start against the Atlanta Braves. His first came in 2011. And then made a pair of starts within 10 days of one another last year. Has never lost to the Braves. Very good numbers. Collectively only a .217 batting average by Braves batters against Homer Bailey. And he has walked Freeman to load the bases.
Yeah, this is very un-Homer Bailey-like 2013 version. He's been a guy that normally his delivery is very solid. It's compact. He keeps his head still. His arm slot is very consistent. But today there's just something a little bit off about it.
Ryan Price feels like I feel when I come out to the mound in a Little League game. And they're not necessarily tying their shoes. They're down there picking a few of the flowers growing out of the weeds.
Well, you're tying their shoes for them, aren't you?
Or one of the other, yes.
And hopefully putting them in a double knot so you don't have to keep going out every inning.
Or triple knot. Yes.
I mean, I'm not sure what you can say to Homer right now except, hey, you know, relax and pick a pitch that you can throw for a strike and throw it for a strike. Now, we don't know what went on in the bullpen. I mean, there may be something bothering Homer Bailey. We don't know. Maybe the delay down there, the 35-minute or so delay, threw him off his little clock a little bit. You don't know that. But he's got a peck of trouble to pitch out of here in the first inning.
Facing a 26-year-old rookie, the National League's Rookie of the Month in April to begin this season. Evan Gattis homered in his Major League debut. First pitch breaking ball at the knees and a good one, strike one. Gattis, powerfully built young man, 7 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Had an RBI double. His only hit in 4 at bats in the Atlanta victory here last night. They are loaded with 1 out. Red starting pitching, the second lowest ERA among starting rotations in the National League, second only to the St. Louis Cardinals, a team they trail in their division. 1-1 pitch. 95-mile-per-hour fastball off to the first base side, and now Bailey ahead of Gattis at 1-2. Got him swinging, came right back with 95 again, and a big second out here in the opening frame for Homer Bailey.
You know, there's no panic in the disposition or the posture of Homer Bailey, and that fastball at 95, he simply looks like he's playing catch. That's how easy it's coming out of his hand when he's throwing it right.
One more big out to go. Ryan McCann, an all-star each of his first 6 seasons in the major league. Played in a game for the first time all year last night. And there's strike one right down the middle. McCann had shoulder surgery that led to his worst offensive season after injuring it very early last year. Last night went 0 for 4, drew a walk. Hit a pair of ground balls at Votto. He struck out once and popped up to left field in his final at bat. Nice save there by Corky Miller. Simmons, we've already seen his aggressiveness on the base pass in this inning. And he was charging hard down that line at third when he saw that ball in the dirt. Bases loaded, 2 men out, 1-1 the count on Brian McCann, and it misses off the inside corner to fall behind 2-1. Simmons, Justin Upton, Freddie Freeman on the bases. 2-1 pitch. Came back that time with a fastball at 96.
Yeah,
now Bailey a strike away from getting out of this inning.
A little bit tardy on that fastball was Brian McCann. He's a guy, when he is in the groove, is not late on many fastballs. Very quick bat. He walked his first time back. He's been on the disabled list all year long. And he said after the game that it'd take him a little while to get back into the game at this speed.
Full count. There are pitches in a game that can make your night. There are pitches in a game that can break your night. They can come early, they can come in the middle, they can come late. This could be one of them right now, very early. And this is banged into right center field, and Atlanta's taken a 2-0 lead. First hit since coming off the DL by Brian McCann, and he knocks in 2.
And he's pretty much going to get a fastball right here, and he does. Homer Bailey throws it at 96, but Brian McCann just puts a good level swing on it and drives it into right center field. McCann's going to get his hits, but it's the 2 walks previous in the inning that kind of dig the hole for you.
And it continues now for Dan Uggla, 196 batter. A fastball right by him to get ahead, strike 1. Uggla, a rare good night at the plate here last night. A triple, a single, scored a pair of runs. He also struck out a couple of times. Of course, the Braves hitters will do that.
Now you see where they're trying to pitch Dan Uggla, and you watch him hit. He's a solidly built man, very short arms though, and they're going to pitch him down and away and make him reach for that pitch on the outer part of the plate.
Got to be very careful. You hang one inside right there to Dan Uggla.
He likes it up and out.
Well, the Braves jumped in front in the first inning against Bronson Arroyo last night. They've done it tonight to Homer Bailey. And they're adding to their lead. Bailey allows another 2-strike, 2-out hit. And Atlanta has scored 3 times here in the opening inning.
Well, he was ahead of Dan Uggla, 1 ball and 2 strikes, and really had a great chance to put him away after a breaking ball. They wanted up and in. I'm not really sure why they're going right there with Dan Uggla, because if you're going to miss there, you have to miss off the plate and inside, maybe to set up another pitch. The swing he had though on the first pitch, the first fastball down and away, he missed it by 1.5 feet. So if you miss your spot and miss it out, Uggla can hurt you.
So now Juan Francisco, the 8th Atlanta Brave to bat in the inning. Francisco at 294, 4 home runs and 12 runs batted in. That's in a grand total of 68 at bats. Now he strikes out a ton. But of course, that's falling right in line with this Atlanta lineup. But much like early in his career with the Reds, when he puts the bat on the ball, he tends to hit it very, very hard. And sometimes a very long way. Out of play.
Well, they struck out twice for their 2 outs this inning.
Many of us remember we were here when it happened, when Juan Francisco last year, 2 years ago, September the 12th of 2011, hit that ball an estimated 502 feet and landed outside of Great American Ballpark. Still the second longest home run ever hit in this stadium. And Bailey is knocking on the door of a 40 pitch opening inning. One and 2 to Juan Francisco. Two on, 2 out. And this will be coming up the 40th pitch of this first inning. It began with a little pop fly into short left center field. The drop for a double. 1 out later, back-to-back walks. Then a big second out, getting Gaddis on strikes. But McCann a 2-run single, Ugla a run scoring single. And the count has gone full on Juan Francisco. The most pitches this year Bailey has thrown in an inning before this inning. 25. Twice so far that's happened this year. Getting over. Atlanta 3. Reds are coming to bat. Steve Baker's starting lineup tonight. Shu leads off at center. Again, Cozart at short, Votto at first. Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, Xavier Paul, 4, 5, 6. And 7, 8, 9 as Jack Hanahan starting tonight at third. Corky Miller catching Homer Bailey. Chris Medlin, same number of innings. The exact same ERA as Homer Bailey. A tough luck pitcher is Chris Medlin so far this year.
Well, you're right about that. They're not scoring very many runs at all. You see the home runs he's given up. The Braves have scored only an average of 2.6 runs a game while Medlin has been on the mound. He's a sinker ball pitcher, not overpowering. His fastball will top out anywhere 91, 92. He throws a good curveball, a changeup, and he likes to sink his fastball for the most part. You're going to see more sinking fastballs than four-seamers.
Shin-Soo Choo to lead things off. And Medlin going to work. Strike one. Choo struck out, lined out his first 2 times up last night. Then reached base safely his final 3 trips to the plate. Hit by a pitch, drew a walk, had a single. As the Reds tried to rally in the 9th inning. Talked about the puffy lip. You can see on the right side of his upper lip after that collision, and the ball subsequently ricocheting off Brandon Phillips' glove at Wrigley Field in Chicago Sunday, and then hitting Choo right in the face. Medlin, another one of those guys, a long list of them, to undergo Tommy John surgery and to come all the way back. His was done back in August on the 18th, 2010. That's why they were so careful with his number of innings last year, starting the season in the bullpen with the intent the entire way that once they got to a certain point, they would put him in their starting rotation. And it turned out to be the best move probably the Braves made the entire year. A big reason why they wound up winning 94 games and qualifying as a wild card for the postseason. 3-2 to Choo. We'll do it again. Well, doesn't it seem like Choo, more times than not, and it's easy to say, of course, because he leads a planet in on-base percentage, but every at-bat, by and large, is a grinded out, lengthy, make the other guy work on the mound at bat.
He's also a guy, though, that, believe it or not, likes to swing at the first pitch an awful lot.
High fly ball into left field. That'll back up Gaddis, put room. Take a look at Atlanta defensively, presented by your Ford dealers. BJ at center, Justin Upton at right with Gaddis in left, Simmons and Uggla up the middle, Francisco to start at third, Battery at Medlin and McCain.
You know, let's go back to that comment on Choo. I don't disagree with you at all. He does grind it out, and it's obvious that he grinds it out. What I think you're seeing, Tom, is you don't see Choo get himself out on a pitcher's pitch early in the count where it just makes it look like he didn't have a game plan.
Kind of like that at bat. Fly ball in the right field. Pitch down and away. Not going to be able to do much with it.
Agreed.
So now Joey Votto, .320 batter, 4 home runs, 13 runs batted in. You saw his name on that on-base percentage leaders list among all major leaguers. Third, behind his teammate Shin-Soo Choo, and sandwiched in between the Triple Crown winner from a year ago in the American League, Big Miguel Cabrera. Man, can that guy hit. So you and I talked about it years ago. Miguel Cabrera is still so young. People forget when he came up with the Marlins in that 2003 year, he was only 19 years old. You're talking about a man who's not even quite 30 years old, and the numbers he has put up. Cabrera with a legitimate chance before his career is over, if he stays healthy, to be in that conversation of the greatest right-handed hitters that ever played the game.
There's no doubt.
Two and two to Joey Votto. 2 down, nobody on. Reds trailing 3-0 here in the opening inning. And Votto, like Choo, runs the count full against Medlin. And this will be a 1-2-3 opening inning for the Atlanta right-hander. We march on to the second. Reds trail the Braves. Game 2 of this 3-game set. 3-0. We'll have our Miller time moment. But for right now, we'd like to tell you that if a Red hits a home run off that Toyota sign out by the power stacks in right center field tonight, Ramona Vallandingham. I hope I said that right. Ramona Vallandingham from Cincinnati will win that beautiful new Tundra. You can register for your chance to win it at an upcoming game. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Homer Bailey needing a quick, efficient, productive inning after throwing 41 pitches in the opening frame in a 3-run Braves first inning. Starts with a pitcher Medlin and quickly ahead 0-2. Struck him out on 4 pitches. All 4 outs recorded by Homer Bailey so far in the game tonight have been via the strikeout.
Well, the Reds have set that pace really starting from the very first inning of last night's ball game. They've struck out the side 4 times. 4 of 10 innings this season or this series so far. In fact, they have at least 1 strikeout in all but 1 inning. Well, the 1 game plus we've played so far in this 3-game set with the Braves.
So now Simmons, he led off the game the very first pitch with a little pop fly into short left center field. Paul came in, Cozart went out. Zach nearly made a terrific over the shoulder catch, but it hit off the end of his glove and fell to the ground. Simmons wound up with a bloop double and scored the first of 3 runs in that first inning. One and 2.
Well, you may remember if you watched last night's ball game that Simmons was batting in the number 8 spot. You know what happens when you go 3 for 4 with 2 home runs? You get moved up to the leadoff spot the next day.
Simmons did not like that call by the home plate umpire Gary Cedarstrom, who rings him up.
Corky Miller wants it down and it just kind of spins out of his hand. That's a split finger fastball that he throws, and boy, it looks on our back tracks anyway, way out inside. I mean, but sometimes you get those and you need them.
Count on B.J. Upton. He struck out swinging his first time up. 5 strikeouts in 6 plate appearances to start this series for Upton. And he has just drawn inexplicably a 4-pitch walk.
A whole lot of bewilderment going on, and you're going to have nights like this as a pitcher where it's going to be a battle with every at bat, every pitch you throw.
Strike 1 to his brother Justin Upton.
I think the key, though, when you're having a night like this by Homer Bailey, and if it's obviously he's not had good control of his off-speed stuff. You've got to stay stubborn with it. You just can't put it in your pocket and not use it the rest of the night. Big league hitters are just too good if you're going to go out there with one pitch. Even Aroldis Chapman learned that.
Oh, and 1 on Justin Upton. Of course, the running game, a big part of B.J. Upton's repertoire, if you will. Runs very, very well. Of course, that old adage about you can't steal first base, and that has been the problem, obviously, for B.J. to begin his Atlanta Braves career through a month and a couple of weeks. You talk to people that have seen B.J. play, and he spent his entire career with Tampa Bay over in the American League, and they'll tell you, he'll go through stretches like this, but then one of those players, I guess very similar to Jay Bruce, although they're not similar in style. But as far as when they get hot, they can carry a team for 6 or 7 weeks. 2-1 to count on Justin Upton. And I'm sure a lot of folks in Atlanta are saying it's about time to see that B.J. Upton.
Well, the important thing for B.J. Upton is not to read the press clippings, not to even look at the scoreboard and see what that batting average is. Try to simplify it as absolutely as much as you can. Just try to see the baseball. Because when you're hitting a $148, you're not seeing it.
2-2 to Justin Upton.
But meanwhile, the team he's playing on is leading the division. So it could be a lot worse if you're B.J. Upton out there at first base. Your ball club could be in last place, and people will be looking at you saying, you're the reason we're here.
Which is really what's going on right now out in Anaheim.
Yep.
Where you bring in all this high-priced free agent talent. Albert Pujols last year, and Josh Hamilton this year, and all of a sudden you're losing seemingly every night. Going on strikes is Justin Upton. Every out recorded by Bailey from the front to a strikeout, but he trails 3-0. That's what I thought. All right.
Hey, robotic cameras there.
Well, right now at FoxSportsOhio.com, 3 great athletes gather in Middletown. Ohio is well represented in that new College Football Hall of Fame class and the latest offseason NBA buzz. Get complete coverage of that and everything else going on in Ohio on FoxSportsOhio.com. Mention Middletown. Pleasure to be joined up in the booth. Went to Bishop Fenwick High School in Middletown and the voice of the Wright State Raiders baseball team. Rick Griffin, nice to have you up here. You look very dapper tonight, young man.
Thank you very much. You know, I know every Tuesday is Bow Tie Tuesday, so you know what? I came up here for half an inning, and why not spend time up here on Bow Tie Tuesday with a bow tie?
You're looking good, my man.
Thank you.
All right, now you're going to handle a little play-by-play for us. This is something you've always wanted to do. You've been doing it while you're in college. You called the Horizon League tournament all by yourself, right?
Yes, I did. It was probably about 3 or 4 games. Wright State looked very good in the regular season. They won the regular season, but unfortunately they lost to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee in that final game. And give credit to Milwaukee. They played a really good game as Brandon Phillips looks at his strike on the inside corner for strike 1. Brandon Phillips at the plate, just looked at it previously at his strike, had a pair of hits last night. Actually, he had a double, and Brandon Phillips is doing very well in that number 4 spot since Ryan Ludwig went out of the lineup back early on opening day. Pitcher kicks and deals, and that is a ground ball fielded by the third baseman. He'll throw over to Freeman, and that will be the first out of the inning for Brandon Phillips. So Phillips started to look comfortable at the plate, but he swung on strike 2.
Well, Juan Francisco, never was really known for great defense when he was with the Reds. He's got great tools, good arm once he fields it, but he makes a nice play on this, just about right on the line. Robs Phillips of at least a base hit, maybe a double.
And that will bring the right fielder Jay Bruce to the plate, batting a very well-respected .246 batting average, as he takes a big swing for strike 1 on that fastball. Jay Bruce struggled a little bit earlier this season, has been swinging the bat very good as of late here for the Cincinnati Reds, and he's looking for a base hit here. Pitcher kicks and deals, and that's on the outside for a ball.
Well, you may have said it right, Rick, when you said he took a big swing on the first cut. They'd like to cut that swing down just a little bit more under control.
As the pitcher deals, and that is hit sharply fouled towards the first base side, and it'll bounce into the seats.
Got out ahead of the breaking ball that time. Medlin will throw a fastball, curveball, changeup. He'll like to throw more changeups against left-handers as he tries to get that ball to go down and away against the southpaw.
So after that foul ball, Jay Bruce will move into an 0-2 hole as Chris Medlin delivers the 0-2 pitch, and that is popped up into deep right field, but curving foul down the third base line. And Jay Bruce still stays alive on that 0-2 count.
Rick, did Wright State have a pretty good team overall this past year?
This past year they did have a very good team overall. Unfortunately, they couldn't win the Horizon League this year. Ended up losing to, I believe, it was Valparaiso, as Jay Bruce fouls one straight back, and he stays alive at 0-2.
I remember we had a guy with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you know who I'm talking about, came out of Wright State University and now is a broadcaster with the Tampa Bay Rays after pitching in the big leagues for a number of years. Brian Anderson, good guy.
As that is swung and then headed into deep left center field, but the left fielder Gaddis is there to make the grab, and the Reds are quickly at 2 outs.
Now, Rick, we asked you to come up here. We had heard about you've been obviously through some very trying days these days, and are going to undergo a big surgery. And our thoughts and prayers are with you on Thursday. But we were so excited to hear about all you've been doing in the play-by-play, and we thought it'd be awesome to have you come up here, and we just can't thank you enough for making the time to come out. Well, you're not done yet, but we're just really happy you're here tonight.
Right, and you don't know how much it means to me to be up here and even to call this half inning. As Xavier Paul steps to the plate, batting a .265, doing a very fine job replacing Heisey in left field.
Now, you got any buddies out there that are watching? Look right up. See that little thing right there? It's like Big Brother watching you all the time. See what
I got a lot of friends watching me tonight, listening to me over the air. A lot of guys that I worked with in the radio booth at Wright State, as that is a big swing and a miss right there by Xavier Paul.
Well, you're doing a great job so far, Rick, but we're not getting much in the way of action going on down here on the field.
No, not really. Unfortunately, Chris Menlin is having his day with the Reds right now. It'll be interesting to see what happens, though, when he goes through the second or third time through the lineup.
Good point.
That's usually when the Reds do start to do well, as Paul looks on a ball on the outside. Xavier Paul will step back into the batter's box as he waits for the 2-1 pitch from Menlin. Here's the 2-1, and that is another big swing and a miss for Xavier Paul, and he is even at 2-2 with 2 outs.
Looks like he pulled the string on that one. Talked about the fastball and then changeup. He's got the same exact arm slot on that changeup he does as the fastball.
I always found it amazing that pitchers, how they were able to just take back just enough on that breaking ball after giving him a nice heater. And here comes the 2-2 from Menlin, and that is inside for a ball. Yeah, Xavier Paul will move ahead 3-2. So after falling behind a little bit, he has found himself at a full count, 3-2 with 2 outs. Chris Menlin is going to ask for time as he goes back towards the rubber. Xavier Paul will step back into the batter's box. Menlin kicks and deals, and that is going to be ball 4 on the outside, and Xavier Paul will get a base on balls.
Yeah, the first time they've been able to reach a base runner against Menlin, he was 5 up, 5 down, 2 pop-ups, 2 ground balls, and another fly ball.
And that will bring Jack Hanahan to the plate, playing third base tonight for Todd Frazier. Has 4 RBIs and is batting a respectfully .308 batting average. Menlin kicks and deals. As that ball is popped up into deep left center field, but Gaddis is there to make the grab, and that is it. The Reds put one on the board, put a runner on base, but nothing to show for it, as we are going to head to the top of the 3rd inning here on Fox Sports Ohio.
It has been a real pleasure, my friend.
It has been great.
Hey,
great.
Our thoughts and prayers are with you on Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, but thanks for coming up. You made our night tonight, all right?
Yeah.
Rick Griffin, kind enough to join us, the voice at Wright State University on baseball. A lot of you have heard him that follow the Raiders, and man, it was awesome having him here tonight.
you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO, and earned run average leaders since 2012 All-Star break.
We'll go back to that because that gives you an idea about how good these two teams have been. 1-3 among all teams in baseball going back to the break last year. In the air, left center. And Freeman retired to begin the Atlanta third inning. It was nice to have Rick Griffin up here.
It certainly was. Did a good job.
Did a great job. You know, a young man who, Jeff Pecoro, had a chance to meet him and his father. And Rick has been diagnosed with cancer, and he has a very, very critical surgery coming up on Thursday. We heard that he had been working his tail off broadcasting Wright State University baseball games along with his buddy Aaron Botts. And we thought, boy, it sure would be nice if he could come up here and handle a half inning for us.
That was a great idea to have him up. He did a great job, and tell you what, nice young man, and we wish him all the best. I know he's going through a lot of medical issues, and he's got a big surgery scheduled for Thursday, and our prayers and thoughts are with him, and we'll get him back here after he recovers and have him do another half inning.
That's a deal. Look forward to that. Three pitches, 2 outs for Homer Bailey to begin this Atlanta top of the third inning. If you're just joining us, we got started about 35 minutes late tonight due to rain that passed through about an hour before the game. Straight away center field. Chu will get there, and that's it. 3 up, 3 down. Reds down 3, bottom 3 around the corner. Stick around after the game. A free post-game concert. And yes, indeed, the Beach Boys are here. Take advantage of the Reds 4 for $48 ticket deal. Can you imagine that? 4 tickets, $48. Great seats for the ball game, and then the Beach Boys concert after the game. Mark it down, Sunday, May the 26th. Can't wait for that. They're still going strong, man. Sounding good. Reds are down 3-0. They bat here in the bottom half of the third inning. And they'll be sending up Corky Miller, Homer Bailey, and Shin-Soo Choo against Chris Medlin. Reds have 1 base runner through the first 2 innings. That was a walk to Xavier Paul. And a first pitch ground ball right at the shortstop, and that takes care of Miller quickly to begin the third inning. 0-2 on Homer Bailey. Bouncer down to Freeman, and they're quickly 2 away on 4 pitches by Medlin. Tonight's Ohio Lottery Mega Millions jackpot, a whopping $139 million. And the drawing's coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. So with 2 down and nobody on, here comes Shin-Soo Choo. He flied out to left field his first time up. That was on a 3-2 pitch from Medlin. Started 2 and takes a strike.
One of the problems that Chris Medlin has had so far this year is that his control has not been very good in the strike zone. Elevating his sinking fastball has really got him into a lot of trouble. But it seems like tonight he's been right on the corners and right on the knees as that last pitch. We saw this so far this year in the month of April. His walks go up, his ground ball percentage go down, his strikeouts go down. More hitters swinging at the first pitch, making contact and hitting hard.
That ball driven into deep right center field, and Choo has the Reds on the board with his 6th home run of the year.
Well, the guy has been simply nothing short of amazing. You know, we saw with Choo in spring training that a lot of his base hits were going to left field, but his home runs were going to right center field. And he just gets a ball on the inner third of the plate and wallops it.
So a 3-0 lead becomes 3-1 on the solo blast by Shin-Soo Choo, and now Zach Kozai. 0-1 pitch, and it bounces up there and even a count. We'll take a look at the smoke coming from the fireworks after the home run, and the color of the nighttime sky, and the lights on. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it?
Reminds me of a drive-in movie.
It does. You're right.
The fog.
Yeah. And, you know, when it gets over here near the top of the stadium, for those of you, many of you have not had that chance. And back in the old days when the Giants played in Candlestick, and right around 8 o'clock at night, it would come over the stands in left field. They referred to that fog as the claw, because it was like a claw just encompassing the entire stadium. Reds get on the board. They get a home run by Choo and trail at the end of 3-1. Every game with Reds Live right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, and company give you everything you want to know leading up to game time. It's presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. All right, Reds get the home run from Shin-Soo Choo. It's turned into an absolutely beautiful night. First pitch swinging, a liner caught by Choo off the bat of Dan Uggla. That thing came knuckling its way out there. Some top spin on it.
I'm really surprised about the Braves' approach here after Homer Bailey throws 40 pitches in the first inning. He does strike out the side in the second. He walks a batter. But in the third inning, the Braves go down on 5 pitches. And Uggla's up there hacking at the first pitch and makes another out. They've made 4 outs now in 6 pitches to a guy that could have been on the ropes as far as getting into the Reds bullpen if you work him a little bit. Well, they're giving Homer Bailey a chance to get right back into the game, and he's doing it. Throwing a lot of strikes right now after a rough first.
Well, he's got 7, 8, 9. He got the first batter on the first pitch of this inning. So here's Francisco, who had a lengthy at bat. Wound up striking out, ending that 3-run Atlanta first inning against Homer Bailey. Francisco, always a highly touted prospect coming up through the Reds organization. Go down to winter ball as he did again this year and just knocked the cover off of it, playing in his homeland of the Dominican Republic. And you know, he had the 1 year 2 years ago where the 2 times that Scott Rowland got hurt, the very same week Francisco got hurt. You know, Chris, those were going to be his chances really to prove to the Reds what he was capable of doing or not doing, and it just never happened.
Well, he battled injury. Then when he came to spring training the following year, they didn't like the shape that he came in. They didn't like his attitude. And I thought maybe a change of scenery would do him good, and it has done him some good. And meanwhile, of course, the Reds picked up J.J. Hoover, who's been a big part of that bullpen.
3-2 again to Francisco, and he draws a walk. It's 4 walks in a game tonight for Homer Bailey. And now our AT&T trivia question. Good one tonight. Bobby Cox, as we talked about last night, managed the Atlanta Braves twice. Each time he succeeded a Reds former manager. Who were they? That's a good question. Bunted by Medlin. Corky will handle it. And Medlin will advance Francisco on to second base. 2 are out. Tell you what, you could watch Juan Francisco play a lot of baseball, and you would have to watch Francisco play a lot of baseball to see him draw a walk. That is only the 4th time he has been walked this season against 27 strikeouts. So now Simmons bats for the 3rd time, and here we are in the 4th inning. Pops it up. Not another one for Simmons. Nope. Bruce going to get it, and that'll end the inning. 1 man left. Reds are down 3-1. Votto to lead things off when we come back. or visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by JTM Food Group, let's create great dishes together. Boy, nice crowd on hand here tonight at Great American Ballpark. Got about a 35-minute rain delay before we got started here tonight. And skies, at least right now, clear, beautiful, very comfortable night. Temperature's not all that high, right around 60 degrees. But a lot of humidity in the air tonight, so it makes it feel a lot warmer than 60. It's really nice. Braves got 3 runs in the first inning if you're just joining us. First pitch of the game, a bloop double by Andrelton Simmons. 1 out later, back-to-back walks. The 2-out run scoring hits. A 2-run single by McCann, RBI single by Uggla. Bailey has only allowed a pair of base runners since then. Shin-Soo Choo homered with 2 outs and nobody on in the Reds' third, and so you're up to date. 3-1 Braves. Votto against Medlin to begin the 4th inning. Quickly 0-2 to Joey Votto. That one rolled foul just in front of the bag. Well, big news right now in Major League Baseball. The young phenom of the New York Mets, Matt Harvey, we understand is working on a perfect game through 6 innings tonight against the Chicago White Sox. Man, has he been impressive. And you see now the White Sox have come to bat. 2 outs, nobody on in the 7th inning.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Matt Harvey played amateur baseball right here from Midland in Cincinnati. Amateur organization has churned out so many major leaguers over the years. He would be another one who would reach superstar status with a game like he can complete the game that he's on tonight.
Well, we understand just right this very moment. He allowed an infield hit with 2 outs in the 7th to break up the perfect game bid and a no-hit bid. There's a little roller now to second. This will be an easy out to begin the bottom of the 4th inning. Well, right now, it's time for our Lowe's Never Stop Improving feature. We zero in on Brandon Phillips after the injury to Ryan Ludwig. He's been forced into that 4th spot in the batting order. You see the prior numbers. Batting average, slugging percentage, and what he's done, Chris, so far this year in that spot.
Well, there's no question that Brandon Phillips likes to be the guy. And when you're the number 4 spot batting behind Joey Votto, you're the guy. And I think that the Reds really miss Ryan Ludwig. I mean, with consistency, having some right-handed power, a guy that is going to give you a good at bat, obviously a great teammate. But Phillips has been a nice guy to just slide right in there. And, you know, the one thing you really haven't worried about too much is the number 3 and 4 hitters in this lineup. So far, Votto is pretty much being Votto without the home runs. And Phillips has been even better than the normal Phillips.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Brandon. And that fastball misses well out of the zone, even a count. Jay Bruce waits on deck. Now you talk about missing Ludwig and how Phillips undeniably has done an outstanding job in that 4 spot as he's gone swinging this time. But obviously the way the rest of the batting order has been affected. Phillips, the game plan all along was to bat him in the number 2 hole when the season began, with Ludwig 4 and Cozart in the 7th or 8th spot depending on the game or the night. But that was pretty much going to be where Zach was going to hit this year. But while certainly that void as far as just pure numbers are concerned out of the number 4 spot have been filled, it's a domino effect everywhere else that has had such an impact on this Reds team offensively. And quite honestly, people could talk about one stat, they could talk about another stat, and they can bleed you to death with stats. But the bottom line is Brandon Phillips by himself has only 1 fewer run batted in than Joey Votto and Jay Bruce combined. Nice play by Simmons. And he throws out Bruce, and that'll end the inning.
What an arm.
Reds gone in order. We go to the 5th. 3-1 Atlanta in front. This summer, you can do that by checking out MLB.tv. I mean, you can get it on your favorite mobile devices in HD quality with MLB.tv Premium. For more information, visit Reds.com or go to MLB.tv. It is baseball everywhere. We have played 4 after a 35-minute rain delay tonight at Great American Ballpark. Braves got 3 in the first. Reds got a home run by Shin-Soo Choo in the 3rd. So a 2-run Atlanta lead. And a fastball thrown right by B.J. Upton. As we open up the 5th, Upton has struck out and walked. Oh, 2. By all accounts, those that follow the Braves, travel with the Braves, cover the Braves, those with the Braves say despite his troubles, B.J. Upton has maintained a positive, upbeat attitude, not walking around sulking all the time. Of course, you hear people say that, and it's like giving somebody credit for hustling. And I'm not diminishing the fact that he's not, walking around sulking, because there are a lot of us who do when things are not going well. But really, at the end of the day, what are your choices? You can try to be upbeat, stay focused, stay positive, continue to grind, or you can just walk around bummed out all the time. And chances are you walk around like that, it's not going to get much better.
And you're not going to get the support of your teammates either. That's the biggest thing. I mean, everybody in that dugout at one time or another is going to go through a real rough spot. And it's how you handle it, to how you get back up after you knock down, and you're in the respect of your teammates. I mean, based on what the Braves are paying B.J. Upton, he's going to be here a while. So the way he handles this is very, very important. And I think also the way that his manager handles it is equally as important. And he will test the patience of that guy right there, I can guarantee you.
Well, what a good guy. I mean, as easy to talk to as anybody that puts on a major league uniform, no matter what they do, whether it's a player, a coach, a manager. Freddie Gonzalez, good guy. And Upton has his first hit in the series. Got a breaking ball and whacked it into left field.
And he got the breaking ball, and he got the breaking ball up. There's no question that B.J. Upton's got tremendous bat speed. And he just rips right through that pitch. That's a splitter. That's been a pitch that has been a pretty good strikeout pitch for Homer Bailey. That's what he throws as a changeup. But when you get that ball about waist high, it doesn't seem to sink much. Second time Upton's been on base out of his 3 plate appearances.
Now Justin, who walked and scored in that 3-run first inning and struck out in the second inning. And it's ball 1 high. BJ 3 of 6 in stolen base attempts so far this year. Cozart charging. His only play is to first. 1 out. B.J. Upton advances on to second. Time to answer now our AT&T trivia question. Good one tonight. When Bobby Cox took over twice in Atlanta as their manager, each time he succeeded a former Reds manager. Who were they? Our old buddy Dave Bristol.
How about that?
76, 77. And Russ Nixon.
I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Bristol watching this game right now, right?
Out of North Carolina, right? It's interesting to note in that 1977 season, and many of you will remember this, there'll be some that don't. Of course, Ted Turner used to own the Atlanta Braves. Bristol's 77 season was interrupted when Ted Turner took over for 1 game in the middle of the season.
And he managed that game with a uniform on in wingtips.
They were going through a 16-game losing streak. I tell you, I don't know the name of the book. I can't remember who wrote it. I read it so many years ago. But you want to talk about one of the most entertaining books, sports books, and I don't read very many of them, so I'm sure there are maybe a lot more than I know about. But the book that was written about that 1977 season and some of the stories when Ted Turner was young
and brash,
quite brash, and I mean wild as a day is long, and some of the stories about Ted Turner are mind-boggling.
Well, if you remember, that was back in the days when Ted Turner announced that the Braves were America's team, because he had his broadcasting network went on cable when the early days of cable, and everybody in America got to watch the Braves and had to wait until the weekends to watch other teams.
1-2 to Freddie Freeman.
But that picture of him in my mind, of him in a Braves uniform in wingtips.
He was something else.
That was something.
He still is something else.
That's when the commissioner took one look at that and said, that's not going to work.
1-2 on Freddie Freeman. And this will bring in another Atlanta run.
Well, that's a good bit of hitting right there by Freeman.
Tell you what, the more you watch him, you got to really like Freddie Freeman.
You're right.
This guy can hit.
I thought the guy, you know, when you first see him coming up, he's a big left-hander with a hard swing. You're thinking, well, he's going to have some holes, but he sees the defense pulled way around to the right side, and he sees that pitch going the other way. It's another one of those splitters, it looks like. Not all that bad of a pitch by Homer Bailey, but with Hanahan pulled off the bag at third base, he opens the hole, goes right down the line, and they pick up that run that the Reds came back and got with the 2 home run.
This guy's only played in 18 games so far this year, Freddie Freeman, and he has 17 runs batted in. Now, he's never going to be confused with a, you know, what traditionally is a big sluggers over at first base and that kind of thing. Well, he got some pop in his bat, but he's not going to be a 30-35 home run guy. But he hit 23 last year, knocked in 94, scored 91. Pretty impressive. And the other thing he did last year in his second year in the big leagues, 2 out RBIs. Only 2 players in the National League drove in more runs with 2 outs in an inning than Freddie Freeman.
There's a couple of former teammates going at it right here. Both Homer Bailey and Evan Gattis played together on the Junior Olympics. Gattis from Texas. What a story he is. Played high school baseball, figured to be drafted. Ended up taking a scholarship at Texas A&M, but never showed up. Had a drug and alcohol problem. Instead of going to college, he ended up checking into a treatment center. And then he disappeared for about 4 years. I mean, off the face of the earth. He just traveled the West, had odd jobs. He was a ski lift operator. He parked cars. He was a golf cart attendant. He was a janitor. In fact, the picture that he had on his ID as a janitor is the picture that he uses on his Twitter account. He finally got his act together. Had a tryout. Braves looked at him, took him in the 23rd round. Had a great year in winter ball last year. Came to camp as a non-roster player, and here he is.
So he went around. Yeah, here he is in 1 month into the big leagues. His first month into the big leagues. He's a National League's Rookie of the Month.
Well, he's the fastest selling jersey in Atlanta right now. He's become a folk hero overnight with the kind of effort that he had in the month of April. But he's not figured out his old teammate Homer Bailey much tonight. He's over 3 with 2 strikeouts.
You know, you read those stories about Gattis, and it really is remarkable. I mean, you just could not have laid it out there any better. I mean, you know, think about where he thought his life was headed. When you're working as a 23-year-old ski lift operator or janitor. And here he is at Great American Ballpark. Braves lead 4-1.
on the Reds 4-1 right now, and time to talk about the head and shoulders whiff of Old Spice. It's about Homer Bailey and that split finger fastball. There it is right there. You see the index finger pulling down on the outside seam, and it's good for a couple of strikeouts. You got B.J. Upton right there, and later got Andrelton Simmons on that same splitter. Strike 3. That our whiff of Old Spice. Right now, the second time through the order, the Reds are getting a whiff of Chris Medlin's curveball. First time through, he threw mostly fastball, changeup. This time through, he's thrown the left-handers more curveballs and really using that changeup. He's got 3 pitches working on the night.
Xavier Paul, Jack Hanahan, Corky Miller. Here in the Reds' 5th inning. Reds have a total of 2 base runners to reach safely against Medlin. Xavier Paul, one of the 2, drew a walk back in the 2nd inning, and the other, of course, the Shin-Soo Choo home run. Here's that breaking ball. Low and in. 1-1 to Xavier Paul. Final game of this series, a day game tomorrow. 12:35 first pitch. And then the teams will say goodbye to one another. So the Reds head down to Atlanta much later in the summer. 1-1 pitch. Pulled a string on him there. Thursday, an off day. And then we'll see the Milwaukee Brewers for the first time in this 2013 season. They will play here on Friday night. 1-2 delivery. Straight up in the air. Simmons will back up to the outfield grass. 1 out.
Well, that changeup for Medlin has been so effective, and if you really watch him and break it down as he throws it, he's got such tremendous arm speed. I mean, he sells it like a fastball, and if you're in the batter's box, look at the effort he puts through with his arm. I mean, he just whips it through there like it would be a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Instead, it's an 83-mile-an-hour changeup, and you're just a little bit out ahead. You don't swing and miss, but you're just off the sweet spot. And he had been struggling. I mean, Medlin last time out was against Detroit. He gave up 5 runs and 10 hits. He worked out of the bullpen with his pitching coach, and they figured out that he was essentially stepping the wrong way. He was setting himself up so he couldn't get the ball inside the left-handers, going across his body. Roger McDowell got in his way, so he had to step the right way. All it took was a couple of pitches to repeat, and it was like a light came on. He said, I get it. So he couldn't wait for this start to kind of take that new adjustment out to the mound, and here he is throwing the ball pretty well.
Sure is.
1 hit the Reds have through the first 4 and 3rd.
2-0 the count on Hanahan. And Hanahan takes a 4-pitch walk. Two walks, a pair of strikeouts, 1 hit, 1 run allowed so far tonight by Medlin. And now the number 8 batter, Corky Miller, will come to the plate. Homer Bailey's spot due up next. Told you about the activity. Logan Ondrusek throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen. And he has since taken a seat. Sam LeCure now up and throwing. That ball tomahawk down to left field line into the corner, and it bangs off the wall. Hanahan on his way to second base and now to 3rd. And Corky with a loud, long single. That ball's hit so hard, the throw went into 3rd. And Corky slammed on the brakes.
Like a bad joke. What's the difference between a single and a home run? About a foot. And for Corky Miller, he jumped all over it. He saw one pitch his previous at bat, a ground ball to shortstop, and he's up there to hack. And he hacks at this high one right there and nearly tomahawks that baby out of here.
Corky's second hit since he was brought back up from the minor leagues. So now the Reds with a chance to get right back in this thing. Down by 3. And we're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Donald Lutz will come up and bat for the pitcher, Homer Bailey. Bailey goes 5 innings, allows 5 hits, 4 runs, all earned.
Now Lutz ought to be patient here in this at bat. Maybe get the seed Medlin's release a little bit before he decides to go up there hacking. Medlin's been so good at changing speed. He's looking for him to roll over on something.
And that he did right there. Lutz a hit in each of the last 2 games. See 15 out of 18 first pitch strikes on the night for Medlin. Generally that's a pretty good recipe to pitching well. Lutz had his first hit on Sunday in Chicago. Had a pinch hit or had a base hit here his second time up in the game last night. First time Medlin has felt any heat from his Reds offense tonight. And a 3rd straight game a hit for Lutz. And an RBI will score hand-to-hand, and just like that, it's a 2-run ball game. Tell you what, this young man is starting to feel a little bit more comfortable and a lot more confident up here.
Yeah, that makes him a whole lot more dangerous hitter, too. What a good level swing for Donald Lutz. Big guy, short swing, quick to the ball. Medlin got it on the outer part of the plate, but he got it waist high. And an Exmo replay, a line drive to center field, base hit, RBI, Donald Lutz. Good shot from our Munchin's Furniture Expo.
Tell you what, you keep doing that, you're going to start getting some starting playing time.
You can keep yourself in the big leagues, too.
So now it's Shin-Soo Choo's fly to left and then homered his last time up. Breaking ball is in there, strike. Miller the runner at second base. Lutz at first. A lot of off-speed stuff, as you said before this inning ever began. Here this second time, now a 3rd time beginning for Medlin.
I mean, he throws it so well and convinces you so much that a fastball is coming. Without the help of the radar, again, it would be hard to tell that that's a changeup. I mean, except the way the batter's reacting. I mean, he's throwing it just like a fastball.
That was a fastball, misses away. 1-2 to Chu. Up and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Chu. Struck him out, 2 away in the inning.
Big strike out there for Medlin. Well, he's been throwing in the entire at-bat fastball or changeup to Chu. He finally drops that big curveball straight over the top. That baby just rolls right off the table.
So now a big chance for Zach Cozart. Cozart 0 for 2 tonight.
Well, he's got one big fan out there, a young girl named Arlen Shields, 13 years old. She had open heart surgery at Children's Hospital last week. Home and recovering, the biggest Zach Cozart fan there is. We wish her a speedy recovery and get back to her classmates at Immaculate Heart of Mary over in Burlington. And Arlen, get well soon.
Indeed. Boy, marvelous work they do over there at Cincinnati Children's. One of the top children's hospitals in the entire world. There's a jam shot pop up in a short left field, and this will end the inning. They get a run, they strand 2, and the Reds trail at the end of 5 by 2. Your Honda Kane Summer. A 2-out 2-run single, part of a 3-run first inning by Brian McCann. Dan Uggla knocked in the other run in that opening frame. Homer Bailey throwing 41 pitches in the first inning. Reds got a Chu home run to right center in the 3rd. But Atlanta got that run back in the 5th. A single by Freddie Freeman. And back to a 3-run lead, and then Donald Lutz. A pinch hit run scoring single plating Hanahan, but Medlin got down to business taking care of Chu and Cozart, stranding 2 in the 5th inning, and that's where we are as we're set to open the 6th. And now taking over for Homer Bailey on the mound is Sam LeCure.
Now, Sam LeCure has been awfully dependable for the Reds so far this year. 11 games overall, good earned run average, very low opponent batting average. And what you most like about Sam LeCure, that guy comes right after you. Boy, does he throw strikes.
So ladder third in the batting order for LeCure. And on the ground right at Hanahan. And that's where we start here in the top of the 6th inning. Juan Francisco coming up, and I guess one would assume it will be Medlin. He's only allowed the 2 runs. And we're only in the 6th inning. He's certainly not had a high number of pitches so far. Really faced 0 trouble, only 74 of them through the front 5. But 0 trouble. until that just completed 5th inning.
Yeah, you got to hand a little credit to Homer Bailey tonight. I mean, we talked about the maturity of Homer Bailey over the years. How all the numbers seem to be getting better. The whip, hits and runs divided by innings pitched, the earned run average getting better and better. Well, in years past, I got to think that he goes out there and gives up a run and 3 runs in the 1st inning. You're not going to see him around in the 5th. And he battled, and it wasn't one of his nights, obviously, when everything was working for him. This game could be a whole lot more lopsided than 4-1 right now. 4-2. I have trouble reading my own scorebook, but I do know the Braves have 4.
Here's Medley. 2 out, nobody on. Strike 1. And 1 the count on Medley. And a fastball off the outside corner. Well, the Reds are due for a rally. It's a bow tie Tuesday.
It is. I know we've got some bow tie folks here tonight trying to represent the bow tie.
I've seen them a number of different spots around the ballpark.
Rick Griffin came all dressed up. Our guest announcer to do it. He wore a bow tie, looked good doing it. You're wearing a bow tie tonight.
Yep. Two and 1 account on Medley.
Even Francois McGillicuddy, our new boss up there at Fox Sports Ohio and Cleveland, sporting a bow tie.
I was very impressed. And I don't say that just because he's the boss.
Yeah.
Well, yes, showed up.
Yes, you did.
No, I followed his lead by putting one on tonight. Well, I've admitted that openly right in front of him.
I convinced him to take off a regular tie, put a bow tie on, and then you followed like a sheep right behind him.
Morning and night. Not last night, Daddy. The Great American Ballpark, Tuesday, August the 20th. That'll be Bark in the Park, presented by Imes and Kroger. You got to arrive early. Better get your tickets early. These things sell out quickly. Come on over for all the activities in the Kroger Fan Zone. Log on to Reds.com/Dog Day and get your Bark in the Park dog package tonight. Arizona Diamondbacks will be in town for that one. Well, coming up tonight, and of course after every Reds game, Fox Sports Ohio will break it all down. Chris Welsh will do the same on Reds Live, brought to you by Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. 4 runs, 5 hits for Atlanta, 2 runs, 3 hits for Cincinnati.
Hey, we're getting some representation here on Bow Tie Tuesday.
Look at that. It looks like a whole family together.
Those are fancy bow ties. I especially like the one way over here on the end. Now that's got some style. Hope he doesn't get any of that cheese sauce on it.
And knowing that fella as we do, there's a real good chance that'll happen.
Yes,
indeed. That's nice, though. Whole family out here with their red bow ties tonight. As Joey Votto starts things, and he hooks it foul down the right field line. And Votto now starting a second straight at bat in an 0-2 hole against Chris Medley. Last time, both times, in fact, tonight, he has bounced out to the second baseman.
Well, we showed you an inning or so ago about how effective Medlin has been in getting that first strike into hitters. He was at one time 15 for 18. And he just continues to pound the strike zone, not overpowering. But he's missed a lot of sweet spots on the bats. That's hitting right there.
Shot the other way down the line, cutting it off Gaddis, but not before Votto will come standing up into second base with a leadoff double here in the 6th inning.
Well, that's some good hitting right there now. 0-2 count. They're trying to tease him away. Maybe Medlin got a little more of the plate than he wanted for Joey Votto, but Votto hits that ball so late. I mean, a hitting coach will say he hit it right out of the catcher's mitt.
So now Brandon Phillips, one crack of the bat away from tying this game up. The Reds have never led in this series here through the front 2 games. High fly ball, left center field. Room out there for Upton. Tagging, and on his way to third is Votto.
Well, that sounded good. It looked good. It just got a little too much air under it.
So now it's up to Jay Bruce.
Well, at the very least, he gets a runner over to third base, but Brandon Phillips really wasn't thinking about that. He was thinking about driving him home along with himself.
Fly ball down the left field line, and that one's out of play. Strike 1 to Jay Bruce. Jay, 1 home run in the year, has 16 runs batted in. As a runner at third here with the Reds down a pair and 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Medlin to the plate. Breaking ball just a little bit high. 2-1 to Jay Bruce. Well, the Braves for the first time all night long have action in their bullpen. We saw the left-hander Luis Avilan last night. He's cranking it up right now. And way out in front of that slow breaking ball was Bruce. That may have come back and hit him. a little bit of pain down there. And the catcher recognizing that, Brian McCann going to give Bruce an extra minute or two to try and get it back together. And at the same time, he'll visit with his pitcher out on the mound. Yeah, that got him. Two and two on Jay Bruce. Runner at third, one out, and he's gone swinging.
Well, he mixed him up on Jay Bruce that time. It did not give him much to hit in the way of a fastball except the very first pitch. How about our Mazda pitch-by-pitch look? Here's a fastball, Jay Bruce. If you're late on that, you're going to see a lot of off-speed stuff. Here's a changeup. Another breaking ball right there that he just misses outside. He gets Bruce on a breaking ball to bounce it off of himself, and then swings and misses at a changeup. So after one fastball, everything else off speed, and Bedlam picks up another strikeout. That is 4 for the Braves starter.
Well, he brought it up earlier. The combination of Votto and Bruce have knocked in 29 runs. And you can say, well, they don't have this chance and they don't have that chance. And there are cases where you would be 100% right. And it's really amazing. You consider that number that the Reds are 3 games over the 500 mark.
They're doing that with pitching, and the offense that you're looking at with the Reds is very similar to the offense that the Braves are looking at. They're very hot or they're very cold. They've had a lot of games where they haven't scored many runs. Runs came very tough to come by in St. Louis. They came tough to come by in Washington. They've been coming tough to come by here the last couple of nights.
Liner, and that'll end the inning. So the Reds have a runner at third. After a leadoff double, they do not get him in. May 24th through the 28th here at Great American Ballpark. That'll be the Reds taking on the Cubs and the Cleveland Indians. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or visit reds.com/tickets. Boy, it's such a great deal. Tonight, we'd love to welcome Reds fans from the Mason Montgomery Kroger. They rode in on the Fan Express to Reds country here tonight. And Fox Sports Ohio and the Reds would love to thank all you great fans who have been part of this terrific program. Top of the order against Sam LeCure. Sam had a 1, 2, 3, 6 inning. So now his second inning of work. Simmons, B.J. Upton, Justin Upton. 4 runs, 5 hits, 5 left for Atlanta. The Reds 2 runs, 4 hits, and 4 men left on base. Well, you know, seemingly not every game, obviously, because you'll have lopsided games from time to time. Well, you know, you look out at that scoreboard tonight, and you look around some of the games. You look at our game tonight. Got a 3-run spread in Houston. Got a 1-run game at Wrigley, 1-run game in Tampa, 3-run game in Pittsburgh, 2-run game in Baltimore, 2 runs here. You know, oftentimes you'll hear in games like football or basketball, game of inches. Really, Major League Baseball is a game you could whittle down to probably on a nightly basis to 3 or 4 at bats in the course of a game, where one team did something to get runs home, and the other team in those same situations when they got them were just unable to do it. Now, there are nights where maybe it's a defensive play, but generally in the 2 or 3 run games, you look back and you could point at 2 or 3 at bats, maybe 4, that change the total outcome of the game. You look at the Atlanta first inning tonight, bases loaded. They had 1 out in the inning. Homer Bailey gets a big strikeout. You're thinking, all right, he's going to get out of this thing unscathed. There's a fly ball to right. And then McCann and Uggla deliver 2 out hits, driving in 3 runs. Look at the Reds tonight. 1 run in, 2 on, 1 out in the 5th. Unable to get either 2 of those runners in.
Well, the key hits that the Braves had that first inning both came with 2 strikes. McCann had a 3-2 count. Uggla had a 1-2 count. Pitcher was way ahead of him right there. And yeah, you're right. I mean, as a former pitcher, I'll tell you that you look back on those pitches that you left up, or that one pitch that you threw that was bad, that went for a 3-run homer that cost the ball game. Those are the pitches that you isolate that cause you sleepless nights.
Reds had another chance there and had just completed 6th inning. Got a leadoff double. Could not find a way to get the runner home. 0-2 on B.J. Upton. But we still have a long way to go in this one. Only 2/3 of the way through it. Here in the top half of the 7th inning with 1 out and nobody on. That's good night, Irene. Another strikeout for B.J. Upton, and 2 are out in the inning.
Well, Sam LeCure sells his curveball like he does his fastball. So when he does deliver that fastball to you after seeing a really slow hook, that ball just gets right on top of you.
Fly ball in the shallow center. Backing up a step or 2 is Chu. 1, 2, 3. 7th inning. Reds coming up. Down a pair.
Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, Aroldis Chapman fans, your big chance to get the first ever bobblehead of the Reds flame-throwing left-hander. That's coming up this Saturday. The first 30,000 fans receive an Aroldis Chapman bobblehead thanks to Cincinnati Bell. Reds and the Brewers, 3-1 Reds, or visit reds.com/tickets. Chris Medlin still out there on the mound. Reds have 7, 8, and 9 in their batting order. That'll be Hanahan, Miller, and then a pinch hitter. They've already used Donald Lutz tonight. He is their only left-handed bat off the bench. They have a pair of switch hitters. And is Turris and Robinson, and still available down there. I'm sure they'd like to wait on Frazier. And it doesn't mean they have to wait until the 8th or 9th inning, meaning wait until he might have a chance to come up there and either tie the game or give you the lead with a long ball. 1-1 to Hanahan, who has flied out to left, walked and scored a run. What a job by McCure again. Well, what an outstanding pitcher he has become. Certainly among the least heralded pitchers, not only in the National League, but just on this Red staff alone. But for those who watch his team every day, all of you out there know how good he has become for this franchise.
You know, when you finally make it as a pitcher like that, you bring a guy in and you expect him to put up a 0. Not hope, not wish he would, not think he might, but you just expect it out of Sam LeCure. I mean, it's like it's automatic. You bring LeCure in, 2 innings, well, the score will be the same, at least from the other team's standpoint, when he leaves.
Well, he is just
come
so
a long
good.
way.
He really has.
Well, he just continues to miss the sweet spot. Not a lot of strikeouts for Medlin's, only had 4 of them. This is Medlin's only 2nd start against the Reds. He had a start back in 2010 against this Reds ball club. Did not get a decision in that ball game, went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs.
That was before the Tommy John surgery.
Right.
Saw both Avilan and Guerin in the game last night. Corky Miller hit a rocket that just missed getting out of here near the top of the wall down the left field line that turned into a long single his last time up. Cubs lead the Cardinals. That's a 2-1 Chicago lead at Wrigley Field. They have played 5.5 there. We're in the bottom of the 7th here. 1-2 on Corky Miller.
Well, after hitting that rocket shot off the left field wall, Corky's seeing nothing but curveballs this time up. He's seen a few of those in his day, though. 37 years old. He could probably run for mayor of Louisville.
Oh, landslide winner. Of course, the other organization in Major League Baseball that gave him a chance to play at the big league level, the team he's playing against tonight.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Braves.
And Bobby Cox could not say enough good about Corky Miller.
And strike 3 called, and that's 5 of them now for Medlin. 2 are out. A reminder once again, the Ohio Lottery Mega Millions jackpot worth $139 million tonight, and the drawing's coming up in a little more than an hour from now. Cesar's turns, bats for LeCure, perfect in his 2 innings with a couple of strikeouts. Of the 27 Reds that have come to the plate against Midland tonight, 24 of the 27 have seen a first pitch strike. That's why you look up on that board, and here we are, an out away through 7 complete, or at least part of the equation anyway. And Reds are staring at 2 runs and 4 hits.
You know, and if you look at the scouting report on Chris Medlin, it's very pedestrian. I mean, nothing really shouts that this guy's going to dominate a team like he has tonight.
We go to the 8th, 4-2 Atlanta.
News and World Report's 2012 honor roll for Best Children's Hospital, and by Chevy. Visit your Tri-State Chevy dealer today and get great pricing on a brand new 2013 Chevy.
Why not come on down to the Holy Grail at the Banks this Friday night at 6 o'clock. Test your Reds knowledge, win some great prizes. And who knows, you could be featured on Reds Live after an upcoming game on Fox Sports Ohio. Be part of the fun Friday night. Brewers in town, 6 p.m. We'll see you down there. Holy Grail on the Banks. So now taking over on the mound, replacing Sam LeCure, the left-hander Sean Marshall. And you see his numbers from a year ago. Marshall, of course, pitched 1 inning very early in the season, and then went on the disabled list before just returning a week ago.
Now, 2 of the 3 scheduled hitters in this inning are left-handed, so Dusty Baker plays it so that he can get his only left-hander other than his closer Aroldis Chapman in the ball game against those left-handers.
Freeman, Gaddis, McCann. Here in the Atlanta 8th inning, Braves lead 4-2. Trying to get him to chase that breaking ball that missed off the outside corner. 25,730. Paid crowd here tonight. You tack on nearly another 7,000 of the youngsters as part of another kid glove game, a second to 5 over the course of the year. So a real nice crowd of close to 33,000 total in the ballpark tonight. Now a lot of the upper deck beginning to thin out from where it was earlier in the night. Many of these kids, well, virtually every single one of them, having to get up early tomorrow morning to go to school, and we were late by about 35 minutes getting this one started. Freeman 1 of 2 has walked, scored, fly to left, and knocked in a run with a hit in the 5th. And Marshall will take care of him to open the 8th.
Tom, we saw Kim Nuxall up in the booth earlier tonight. I want to remind everybody that coming up on June the 6th, the 28th Joe Nuxall Memorial Golf Outing. Of course, it's up at the Hamilton Elks Golf Club in Hamilton. Benefits Joe's legacy, and it's been going on since 1986. They've distributed over $600,000 in scholarships to kids in all 14 Butler County schools. If you want more information about that, you can contact Kim Nuxall on Facebook. Contact the Fairfield Community Foundation. That's a fun time.
I tell you what, you know, we talk about people. There are so many wonderful people you meet in your lifetime, and you know, all of us are so grateful for it. But you know, at the end of the day, Kim Nuxall and Bonnie Nuxall, and all of us knew Joe, and loved Joe. I tell you what, as wonderful as Joe Nuxall was, and God rest his soul, and he was as popular as any sports figure there's ever been in this entire community, in the history of this community. But there are no two finer people in this world than his son and his daughter-in-law, Bonnie and Kim Nuxall. All they have done for so many children, and as you said, carrying on Joe's foundation and the legacy and giving back to the community. Of course, Kim a teacher for many, many years. They are the best. So if you're able to be a part of that golf tournament, they'd love to have you. Hit hard into left center field, but Chu got a nice jump on that ball and makes a nice sliding play.
Now, that's the one thing that Chu has found out about playing center field, is that you can kind of begin to lean with the pitch, and you sense the way the hitter's going to hit the ball. You get a better view from that angle than you do from either of the corner outfielder spots. And this sliding catch by Shin-Soo Chu, our John Morrell hot dog play of the game.
Now Brian McCann with 2 down and nobody on. And right on the ground at bottom. They'll wave off Marshall in a 1-2-3 inning for the Reds left-hander. So here we go. Top of the order coming up. Reds have 6 outs to play with. Chu will start it, trailing 4-2. 4-2 ball game. Atlanta in front of the Reds. Cincinnati comes to bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Couple of changes for Freddie Gonzalez's team. Saw it last night. Jordan Schaefer replacing Evan Gattis out in left field defensively. And now taking over on the mound. We saw him last night as well. He faced 3 batters, retired all 3 of them. Eric O'Flaherty, left-hander.
He's been awfully good for the Atlanta Braves. Eric O'Flaherty, the left-hander they have down there. He's their setup man. He's not only in here only because you've got Chu and Votto, left-handed hitters, scheduled in this inning. He's not given up a run in a month.
Well, maybe that means he's due. On the ground, Simmons bare hands, and his throw is in time. What an unbelievable play by Simmons. And the way things are going for the Reds right now, the only luck they're having is bad luck. They're going to look at O'Flaherty and make sure he's okay. Saying got him in the right thigh. He's already waving off the trainer, Jeff Porter. And what a play by Simmons.
I mean, you can't hit it a whole lot harder than that, and it nearly undresses O'Flaherty. But what a player Simmons is showing us that he is. I mean, he's impressed everybody with his defense down there in spring training. They got him all right. That's a good call down there at first base by Kerwin Danley. But man, oh man, talk about getting robbed. If you're Chu, you're thinking, what else do I have to do here?
Well, it's a big out and a tough out. Toe on the bag. Out. So 1 away here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Reds down a pair. They need a base runner in front of Votto. And that means Zach Cozart hitless in 3 at bats. Fly to right, struck out, fly to left field. Slow roller, Francisco. And this time the call is safe. That was a great effort by Francisco. We know he's got plenty of arm, that's for sure.
He sure has plenty of arm. He just took a little extra longer to get to this ball than he needed to because Cozart runs a little bit above average. That's a good effort, though. That ball just did not get to him very much, and he came in there as much as he could. That's as good a play as you can make.
Votto first pitch swinging. Behind 0-1. Joey tonight 1 out of 3 and a double down the left field line his last time up. That was leading off the 6th inning, and the Reds could not plate him. Pitch fouled back to the screen. 3-2 now to Joey Votto.
Yeah, 3-1.
Tying run.
O'Flaherty, who normally specializes in that big curveball to left-handers, got behind 3-1 and just challenged Votto right across the letters.
And hooked into right field, a base hit. And going first to third is Cozart. So now something cooking. As Votto gets his second hit of the night, and here comes Brandon Phillips with a tying run aboard.
The Braves are a double play death, which means the middle infielders are just a tad closer to second base. This opens up that hole between first base and second base for Joey Votto. And Brandon Phillips up. Boy, he just missed one his last time up.
Of course, that was against a right-hander Medlin. Now he gets a look at the left-hander O'Flaherty. Reds batting here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Phillips hitless in 4 career at-bats against O'Flaherty, and has drawn 1 walk. Phillips by a long way the team leader in runs batted in, 28 of them, and a chance to add to that total right now. Almost hit it. Fastball in.
Well, just a 4-seamer that he stays right on the side of, and it had that boring inaction.
In the air, right center field. So bring in a run. Making it a 1-run game on the sac fly RBI. Brandon Phillips has driven in 29 runs. 4-3 Atlanta. Now Jay Bruce hitless in 5 career at-bats against this Atlanta left-hander. And in 5 of the at-bats has struck out 3 times. In fact, Bruce got a look at O'Flaherty last night, and he popped up to left field. Sure, Todd Frazier somewhere down in that Reds dugout, or maybe up around the corner in the batting cages, has to be getting loose. We have another left-handed batter in Xavier Paul due up next. And there's Frazier with a bat in hand, batting gloves on. And hooked into right field, a broken bat. And this will advance Votto on first to third. So Bruce collects a base hit. And now the tying run is standing just 90 feet away.
And he gets that ball right in on the trademark a little bit. Jay Bruce does. I think it's a cutter or a slider anyway, but he hits it right over the first baseman's head and keeps the inning alive. And at that point, that's what you're looking at. Roger McDowell, pitching coach, out to the mound. And there was much going over the scouting report on Todd Frazier as anything else right here.
Yeah, right now, Xavier Paul is called back, and look at Paul going over and giving a fist to Frazier, saying, all right, come on. Let's tie this baby up and not give the team a lead.
Now, this is the kind of matchup that you want if you're Dusty Baker. You want to be able to send your guy up to the plate who's got some pop. He's a right-handed hitter facing a left-hander. So you've got the guy that you need right now.
Frazier has only faced O'Flaherty one at bat. That was last night. He knocked in a run with a ground out to third base. So Frazier overall at .239 has 6 home runs and 24 runs batted in. Tying run at third, lead run at first. And Frazier tardy on a first pitch fastball. It's 0-1.
That time you talked earlier in the ball game about those 1 or 2 or 3 at bats in a game that determine the outcome. These are the big at bats. Now, some of you don't know until after something's happened. This one, you know it as it's happening.
Virtually the entire right side of the infield. Now Frazier not known for hitting the ball much the other way on the ground. They're working him in here. It even accounted a ball and a strike. But Freeman is holding on Bruce. Of course, he is a go-ahead run. And you see Ugla cheating up the middle. Fella runs in on him, ties him up for strike 2.
Wicked slider right there. You set him up with that with a fastball. He throws a hard breaking ball like that. He throws a softer curve. Another one.
2-2 now on Frazier.
Well, you've got a lot of people in this ballpark either on the edge of their seat or standing right now.
25,730 of them. Hoping the Reds can get the big hit from Todd Frazier here in the 8th. And that doesn't happen. Reds get 3 hits. They get 1 run. They strand 2. We go to the 9th. Atlanta still leads by a run. That came back in the Reds' 3rd inning. Couple of changes for the Reds. They have a new left fielder. We have not seen Todd Frazier out there this year. Of course, he'd been there many, many times since coming up to the major leagues. And taking over on the mound is Jonathan Broxton. He's following Bailey, who gave up all 4 Atlanta runs in 5 innings. LeCure 2 perfect innings. Marshall a perfect inning. Of course, Broxton had the 1 game in Atlanta back on or in Pittsburgh, I beg your pardon, back on the 14th of April. Well, I mean, everything just blew up on him. Got the blown save, a 10-7 loss. Gave up the 6 runs, 2 homers, 3 walks in 1 inning. In his other 13 appearances, in 12 2/3 innings, a 1.4 ERA. And quickly ahead of Dan Uggla, 0-2. Braves have not had a base runner since Freddie Freeman's run-scoring single back in the 5th. But they're pitching among the best in all of baseball again so far this year. And they've made 4 runs through the first 5 innings hold up. Reds one more crack at him in the 9th. And Craig Kimbrell, who's down there getting loose, will be gunning for the 100th save of his major league career. In the left center field will get there in time right at the warning track, and Uggla retired to begin the 9th.
Boy, Uggla hit that ball a long way for a bad swing, off balance. It looked like it got at the end of the bat. That's how strong he is. You make a mistake and he can hit it a long way, but the key is to keep it down and away from it, and that's where Corky is set up. That's where it is, but he still gives it a pretty good ride.
So one away, here's Juan Francisco for 2 in a game, has also drawn a walk. First pitch breaking ball misses low and away to Francisco. Take a peek ahead of that bottom half of the 9th inning. It'll be Hanahan, Corky Miller, and then a pinch hitter. Reds still have Derek Robinson and Devin Mesoraco on their bench. Now the 1-1. Francisco chased that fastball up and came up empty. 1-2. Cardinals are batting in the 8th inning. They're still trailing Chicago 2-1. That's the Cubs 2-1. Of course, the way Major League Baseball works now, there's an interleague series every night. How did that miss Francisco?
I don't know.
Pirates have already won their game, downing Seattle 4-1. He went around. Francisco gone swinging. I'd like to remind you, Saturday soccer returns to Fox Network. Manchester City takes on Wigan Athletic in one match for England's most storied trophy, the FA Cup final, with Budweiser. Is Saturday at noon Eastern, only on Fox. Now Jordan Schaefer, he bats for the first time. He had a home run off the bench, you may remember, against Logan Ondrusek here last night. That's when the Braves went back-to-back in a 3-run 8th inning to bust that thing wide open, and boy, they needed it, as the Reds rallied to make a game of it late with a couple of runs in the 8th, couple of hits, couple of runners left on base in the 9th.
You know, when you think Jonathan Broxton, you're thinking the guy that's going to come out firing 94 or 95, but he's just as easily capable of dropping that little 75-mile-an-hour curveball on you and then bringing the cheese.
Right back to the mound, and that'll end the inning. Crowd wanted that strikeout for an 11th tonight. Another free pizza. But now they want to rally in the bottom of the 9th. Reds down a run. Seventh inning, making it 2 perfect frames for the Reds right-hander out of the bullpen. Got BJ looking and just in on a lazy fly ball to center field. All righty, here we go. Bottom of the 9th inning. 4 runs, 5 hits for Atlanta, 3 runs, 7 hits for the Reds. Couple of changes. We start with Ramiro Pena down at third base, replacing Francisco. And of course, on the mound, picked up his 99th career save here last night. Hard throwing right-hander Craig Kimbrell.
The hard throwing is exactly right. He and Aroldis Chapman are up there atop the leaderboard, and the fastest fastball when it's all tabulated at the end of the year. He is 10 for 12. And typically gets a lot of strikeouts. You know, Tom, as it often happens, sometimes the 8th inning is a tougher inning to negotiate for a reliever than the 9th inning when the closer comes in. That's what you've got right here. He had O'Flaherty come in to face the very top of the order. Had to work through Chu, Cozart, Votto, Brandon Phillips, all the run producers at the top of the order. Then you bring in Kimbrell. I'm not taking anything away from Kimbrell because he's a terrific pitcher. But how often do you see it where the closer comes in the 9th and he's got the bottom of the order? And you don't really often see managers flip-flop based on that, but you really sometimes wonder why.
Now Kimbrell gave up a couple of hits last night. In fact, 2 hits to the first 3 batters he faced before he struck out Cozart and Votto to end the game, and he has just struck out Hanahan to open the 9th.
Now he just comes in with the cheese right here. 96 freezes them.
Boy, how big now. You look back. And granted, this one's not over. Only down a run. One big swing of the bat. And you tied this baby up. When you go back and especially you look, and again we talk about how many at bats determine wins and losses really on a nightly basis. Most nights. When the Reds had a runner at third, a leadoff double in the 6th inning, and could not get the run home. That's when Votto doubled to left field. Brandon Phillips hit a ball into deep center that was caught. Votto tagged, went to third. And then Chris Medlin struck out Jay Bruce. He got Xavier Paul on the liner to third, and that was that. 1-1 to Miller. Devin Mesoraco stands in the on-deck circle. Two to Corky Miller. Good eye there. Down low, even a count. Reds are down to their final out. And it will be Mesoraco.
Well, when he needs it, Kimbrel just rears back and just fires it.
Well, we talked about it last time when the Reds came to bat against Kimbrel in the 9th inning. They wanted to get to Joey Votto's spot to give him a shot to win the game, to tie the game. Right now they're hoping they can find a way to get the man in the on-deck circle to the plate in this inning. That's Chu. Ball 1 to Devin Mesoraco.
And he's 1 out away, Kimbrel is, from his 100th save in his major league career, and he's only 24 years old. That would make him the 2nd youngest pitcher in history to reach 100 saves. Devin Mesoraco would like to put that off a day or two.
One 1-0 to Devin Mesoraco. Well, started to, and seen a couple of those swings against Kimbrel.
It's one thing throwing 94. It's another thing painting the corner on the knees at 94. And that's what he did right there.
And 1 to Mesoraco, and a fastball at 96 down and away. Chu waiting. 3-1 to count on Mesoraco. Full count. In the air, right center field, and Upton at the wall. Goodbye!
Yes!
Mesoraco has tied the game with a 2-out home run in the 9th inning.
How about Devin Mesoraco? All you got to do is put the wood to it. Kimbrel provides the power with that fastball. The Braves outfield was playing so deep that Upton only had to waltz over to the wall before he ran out of room.
Into the first row, and Kimbrel can't believe it. All right, 4-4 game. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th inning, and now it'll be Chu. And he was trying to end it with that cut.
Well, he went down to get that pitch. That was not all that bad of a pitch height-wise for Kimbrel. Knee-high, Mesoraco provided the elevation.
How about that? Breaking ball inside. You know, oftentimes you see a ball like that with the outfield at regular depth. You made that point a moment ago, and then the center fielder turns around and sprints to the wall, and a ball hit that well. Upton's so far back. I think a lot of people were fooled that that ball was going to fly out of here, because he was basically just ranging to his left.
Well, he didn't get a lot of air under it. I mean, it was a line drive that just did not come down. The young man is very strong, and tonight, very clutch.
2-1 to Chu. In the air, left center.
Oh, dude.
Mesoraco